Picture this. You type a simple one-line idea on your computer, Airbnb for dog walkers, and in second, a fully functional web app appears on your screen before you even finish your morning coffee. Now, this is the incredible promise of Lovable, a vibe code startup that skyrocketed to nearly $2 billion valuation in just 2 years, becoming a favorite for non-coders eager to build their own web app. But success did not come overnight. Initially launched as GTP engineers, they faced significant setbacks before their massive breakthrough. I was reverse engineering Lovable's data-backed growth strategy, and today I'm going to share the 3 tactical marketing strategies that propel Lovable from obscurity to 10 million in ARR within the first 60 days. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Chandan. I'm a founder and a product marketing manager with 18 years of experience. I've advised more than a dozen startups on their early product marketing strategies, and I've also coached aspiring product marketing managers to land their first PMM job. But before we get into the 3 product marketing tactics, here is some context on Lovable's beginning. In early 2023, Anton Osika and Fabian Hedin launched GTP Engineers, attracting over 50,000 GitHub stars and attention on Hacker News. Yet despite initial traction, the founders considered these launches unsuccessful. Why was that? The product was good and it did relatively well within the developer community. Without being defensive about the outcomes, the founders dug into their current strategy and candidly reflected upon their missteps. For example, they admitted they prioritized features without thoroughly validating real user pain. Although AI was booming, their current market was not fully ready for their product. Both very compelling reasons. But the biggest issue they figured out was emotional resonance. You see, non-technical users found GTP Engineer gimmicky and disconnected from their needs. As marketeer, we know that emotional resonance is crucial for connecting a user to a product. Anton and Fabian too realized this and came up with a new strategy. And this is the first marketing tactic we are going to talk about. Their positioning pivot. You see, positioning isn't static, and successful startup pivot when it is absolutely necessary. And one famous example is Slack, which pivoted from gaming to corporate messaging app, resulting in its unprecedented success and popularity. But unlike Slack, Lovable team wanted to stick to their original vision while growing their market to non-developer users. They realized that their brand did not emotionally connect, especially with non-developers. So they took a call to reposition, renaming GTP Engineer to Lovable and emphasizing a powerful new promise: idea to app in seconds with your personal full-stack engineer. This clear, emotional, resonant message differentiated Lovable from coding assistant tools like GitHub, Copilot, Replit, which needed some coding knowledge. Their message clearly articulated an emotional, satisfying outcome, which is creating fully functional app instantly without coding. With this repositioning, they instantly connected with non-technical users like designers, product managers, entrepreneurs, creators who are looking to build their product without needing to code or having the knowledge to code. Now, if you want to deep dive, I have detailed this in my weekly newsletter and included a Notion template to help you repositioning your product. I've shared the link below. Go have a look. Alright, we talked about positioning pivot, but could repositioning alone sustain their explosive growth? I don't think so. This brings us to their next tactic, their community flywheel. Now things get really interesting for Lovable from here on. Remember we mentioned about Lovable raked up 50,000 GitHub stars while it was still GTP Engineer? But the problem is, all the stars are great in signaling curiosity, but if they did not translate into ongoing user engagement, customer acquisition, then they mean absolutely nothing. The founders at Lovable realized this, and therefore they asked a crucial question. How do we turn these early tinkerers into self-propelling growth drivers? Their solution? Incorporate community participation directly into the product. They introduced Lovable Launch, a platform where users could publicly share app they built. And when they published their app, users shared their launch backlinks to Lovable, driving awareness for the platform. But there was also a risk of low quality demo denting their credibility. You see, giving every user a megaphone, you risk lowering quality. It's given, because not every product is going to be a wow product. And this is where Lovable genius product marketing strategy kicked in. To maintain quality, Lovable gamified the process with incentives and badges, motivating users to compete for visibility. The results? Dozens of high-quality apps showcased weekly, creating organic user-generated content that fuel continuous growth without ads. Now, content generation is great, but is it enough? You see, only when content is effectively distributed, it is of value, else they lose steam. This is the third critical marketing tactic that Lovable masterfully executed. Think about it for a moment. How do you orchestrate a multi-channel content distribution strategy without overwhelming or annoying your followers and users? Most startups get it completely wrong in their enthusiasm and excitement for seeding content aggressively without even thinking about how to strategize their entire distribution process. Content distribution is not so straightforward. However, Lovable mastered content orchestration by tailoring content to each platform and being specific about what they shared and by whom. And I'll share some example. Their CEO Anton regularly shared unfiltered information on growth metrics, behind the scene insights, and milestones on the platform X, which allowed them audience reach and engagement. For platforms like LinkedIn, they shared more intimate and thought-provoking deep dives like the post on why they failed in their first two launches. This got their users more involved with the brand. Similarly, they used their blog for tactical announcement and case studies, helping them optimize their site for SEO. Even for platforms like Product Hunt and YouTube, their content was carefully curated. They used Product Hunt and Hacker News for product launches, as it helped them target early adopters. And on platforms like YouTube, they shared more elaborate content on their partnerships with other startups like Superbase. All these tactics created a strong brand presence, cultivating trust and organic interest among their audience, but at the same time, it also helped them amplify their core message with a coherent surround sound marketing effect. Now, I have covered all of this in detail in my weekly newsletter article, with which I've also shared my Notion template on repositioning. I've shared the link below. Please go and have a look. Alright then, let's summarize the product marketing takeaways from this case study. First up is positioning is a live system. It's not a one-time exercise. Lovable did not change their product. They changed the story from being an AI that writes code to personal full-stack engineer that builds an app in seconds. For startup product marketing manager, it's important that you validate your positioning regularly, listening to your audience, evaluating your market trends, and to know if a pivot is necessary. Here's a quick exercise you can do. Run 5 user interviews every quarter and ask, when did you first hear about our product? What was the first impression you had? And what did you expect our product would do for you? With this, you get top of the mind answers, and if their answers don't match your homepage headline, maybe it's time to revisit your positioning and pivot your product story. The second important factor is community can be a content distribution and insight gathering channel if you design it that way. For example, Lovable launched was not a showcase gallery, it was a strategic referral engine. Every week, dozens of products got showcased on the platform, validating Lovable's capability. Now, as a PMM, how do you apply this in your startup? Here's a quick example. Let's say you pick one product moment, a critical milestone for your users, and design a shared loop around it. Then you add a prompt, publish this on our gallery, on our blog, or our community forum. Then spotlight this moment every week in your newsletter or social media, or even write a blog about it. It's free marketing to showcase your product's capability using user-generated content. The third important takeaway is don't just ship content, orchestrate it with a specific goal. Now, Lovable did not spam 10 channels, they tailored one story per channel. For example, Product Hunt was used for their launches, X for daily updates, YouTube for sharing partnerships, and so on. You see, every time I coach a PMM, I advise them to create a content calendar. It's a simple process. Identify one hero topic, map it to the most relevant users, and then adapt it and publish it through the most effective channel. Then measure the impact, double down on what is working, and repeat the whole process. These tactics transformed Lovable into a $2 billion success story in just 2 years. Now here's the thing, Not every startup will achieve this success, even when you apply this tactic. But this is not impossible. All that is required is your investment in strategy, planning, data, and show the right intent. Things which a startup PMM should be very good at. Alright then, if you found this breakdown valuable, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to download my repositioning Notion template. The link is given below. I'll see you in the next video.